Aloha, everyone, in another level living land. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Freedom Fridays. So happy that you're here because we are in store for an amazing treat. I cannot wait to be able to hear some of this amazing wisdom that's going to be coming from our special guest today. And before I introduce him, I want to let you know what is the purpose of the Freedom Friday show. The purpose of the Freedom Friday show is to support you as an entrepreneur and achieving success in your business and life harmony. Because it really is two sides of the same coin. We never want to get so busy making a living that we forget to make a life. And it is possible to work smarter, not harder, stress less, strengthen our relationships, and lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum. And also make sure that you go by another level living and get your 7 secrets towards more business and life harmony. Please give our special guest a warm another level living welcome. Dr. John, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Heather, for having me.
I'm so glad you're going to be talking with us about developing your inner coach. Oh my goodness, this is such an amazing thing and something that's so needed because, I feel like we need that. Everyone, even as coaches, we need that, right?
We really do.
So, yes. So let me let them know a little bit more about you and how you serve. So, Dr. John Ryan is the leading expert in leadership, communication, and change. He is a certified master trainer of neuro-linguistic programming and the founder of NLP Unlimited. Dr. John has almost 30 years of experience in the training and development industry and logging over 2,000 days of training and thousands of hours coaching and empowering his students and clients to expand their impact and their income. This is so good. How many of you want to expand your impact and income? Yes, because give us some hearts and some likes and make sure you put that in the comments below. And you now are definitely going to want to listen in. Dr. John, my first question for you, why is this something that's so important? Why is this topic something that's so important?
Developing your inner coach?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're the biggest bottleneck to our success, and you're a coach, I'm a coach, and many people we work with in our world are coaches as well. And we connect with our clients maybe once a week, sometimes every other week. That means the majority of the time we're on our own. We're on our own. So we not only need that support accountability that coaches provide, but we need to learn how to become our own coach, not only our own coach, but also our own champion to encourage ourselves to go forward, to take that step, and to know that there's no such thing as failure. As you and I know, there's only feedback. And if we can really listen to that intuition, take the external feedback and listen to the intuition that we have, we'll coach ourselves all the way to success as well. I'm not trying to put ourselves out of a job. Like, we still have a role for sure. And ultimately, our success is when our clients don't need us anymore, as you know.
Oh my goodness, that's so good and so important. And for those like for the people who are listening, like how would you describe like what an inner coach is? Like what is that process? Like how can we do this?
Well, here's the cool thing. We're already coaches, right? So in my marketing, I'll say I deal with coaches and coach leaders because everyone's a coach. As a parent, you're a coach. As a partner, you're a coach. As a son, a daughter, a brother, a mother, we're all coaches in different capacities. So we already have that role. We could put it on a business card if we want to, but it's already in us. So then it's really the first step is acknowledging that, yeah, I can't do it for people. I can only help them on their path. So we need to learn how to coach ourselves for sure, and also how to help others just like a coach would, because the more we try to tell people what to do and control them, the more resistance we end up getting. So let's step
Right.
back and start asking some questions like, hey, well, what's your goal here? What were you trying to do? What options do you have available? What have you tried before? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Where do you really shine? Where do you really struggle? What do you want to do about that? So through coaching questions, we can guide people to their own solution, which is 1,000 times more valuable than us giving them the solution.
And it's interesting too, like how often do we ask those questions to ourselves, right? Like, and so that is something that's so profound. So even if you got a challenge, like anybody you who are listening out there, you got a challenge in business and life, these questions that he just shared with us, maybe just ask those questions and listen for the answer, right? Is like amazing.
I have to admit, I spent the majority of my first, let's say, decade or so of my career looking outside of myself, going to trainings and getting coaches and reading books. And I still do all those things. I go to trainings, I listen to books, and I get coaching myself. I think every coach needs a coach. I think everyone actually needs a coach because we can't see what we can't see inside of ourselves. And the more I do that, the more I find that the answer is within me anyways. So I don't have to look. The books are great and you can get new information, new strategies. But when we go to apply them, we're still going to have the same problems until we solve that within, which is crazy.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. Well, what other like strategies or tips or thoughts about how we can do this? How can we develop our inner coach? What are some things
I think the first thing is maybe get really comfortable with having conversations with yourself, having conversations with other people, and come from a place of curiosity. So if you have curiosity and you're willing to be vulnerable and honest and authentic with yourself, and also with your partner, with your kids, and feel free to say, listen, hey, I don't know the solution here. But would you want help with this? Maybe we put our heads together. And that is coaching. It's not coaching like, okay, well, what do you want to work on today? It's more of an organic process where you're just being there, being present, coming from curiosity and willing to explore what the solutions are. And hey, if this doesn't work, guess what? We'll try something else because then they don't feel alone as well. And they have that safety net that we've had in our lives as well, that we know that even if we fall down, it's not falling down that's the problem. It's knowing how to get back up.
So good. Like that was just a beautiful nugget that you just shared. A lot of times when there's this challenge and it brings us down, it's so like almost natural to stay in it. But recognize challenges are just opportunities for new learnings, new lessons, and
We
getting back
actually
on.
want challenges. We want, don't we?
A
Let's
little.
imagine you had
It
all
kind of
the
makes it
money.
fun.
That's what it is, what makes life fun, right? Like, and I work with a lot of high power executives and they're thinking about retiring and when do they call it and things like that. And I'm okay, great. So you're in your 40, 50, 60, whatever. And okay, let's say you retire now. What are you going to do? Well, I don't know. I'm gonna be bored. Like in 6 months, they know because they're high achievers. They need to go do something great. Then we're not retiring. We're just finding a different way to approach your work life to have the harmony that you talked about. Until you have a work, but you also have a life at the same time. So we got to find the harmony because we still need to do something. It's part of our DNA. And sitting on the beach, meditating 12 hours a day might be cool for a while, but I don't know, after 6 months for most achievers, it's going to be a prison. That's not going to be good.
Oh,
You know, so we want challenges, we want problems. That's what makes it really fun. And it's not the easy things we look back on later on in life. It's the hard things to say, man, can you believe we went through that? Man, I made some big mistakes along the way, but I learned from them. And that's part of the win too.
so good. So good. Wow. I mean, it's so interesting how our life lessons, they, even though we don't understand the challenges when we're going through them, like we see the rewards and the benefits of why they occurred like afterwards, right? So maybe
Mhm.
if we could bring in some of that too as we're going through the challenge, like, okay, we're going to be grateful in this. What is the message? What is the lesson? What is the learning? What's the next step? It's like you ask and the answer sometimes appears.
It does. It does. And people get frustrated because they're like, it's not coming fast enough. You can't control when the answer is going to come. You just got to keep asking the question.
Nice.
And here's the other thing is, man, sometimes I ask the question so much, and then when you finally get it, you kind of wish you didn't know the answer, right? Because the search for the answer is so much more fun and exciting because then you got to come up with a new mystery, a new problem to solve. And so it just enjoy the challenge.
Nice. Nice. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness, Dr. John, this is absolutely amazing. What other tips or thoughts or anything that comes to mind that you want to be able to share with us on developing in our inner coach?
And
Anything?
I think one thing I learned a long time ago, this was on a Tim Ferriss podcast. He was interviewing the CEO of Dropbox. And one thing he said I thought was pretty amazing. He said, as leaders, we want to have different frameworks, almost like he called it a matrix, right? A matrices of different frameworks where you learn, okay, so we learn NLP, we learn the coaching model, we learn solution focused therapy or whatever tools we have in time management, all these kinds of tools. And so, as coaches, the more tools we have, the more frameworks, the more flexibility we have to create the results that we're looking for. The wisdom comes from not having the tools, but knowing which tool to use at the right time. And that takes a lot of practice and guidance and reinforcement as well.
Oh, I love that. It's like mastering the art of coaching, right? That
Hmm.
where it's beautiful. You know which tool, which thing to pick out as it needs of trusting in your intuition, your gut, like that inner knowing, you know? Uh,
Correct. Correct. The only way we have an inner knowing though is if we take it out, we mess it up once in a while. We try it, it didn't work. I'm like, oh, that was a bad idea. And then all of a sudden our inner gut says, oh, try this technique because it did work that one time with that one client and see how that goes. And of course, there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback.
That's right. That is
Mhm.
so powerful. So powerful. So powerful. The biggest thing, because what that feedback tells you is just how to do it different, better, or better the next time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's the beauty thing of language. My kid picks on me all the time because I'm not the best speaker. I've done a lot of speaking in my lifetime, but I'm not the best speaker. I make up words all the time. But as long as the message goes across, that's all that really matters. And so we can be forgiving of not doing the technique perfectly. So have the same kind of compassion for yourself as you would, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old in your life that's learning something and like, oh my gosh, you did it. Like, why don't we become our own inner champions as part of that process too?
Yes, our biggest cheerleaders are like, like knowing that we can do it, like breaking free from all the self-doubt, all the uncertainty. And when we really be able to own our uniqueness and our greatness, we literally become unstoppable. It's just like, oh my goodness, we're the king or queen of what we're doing. We're the masters of what it is. And it's so exciting to own it. So for those of you who are listening, if you struggle with like, maybe there's a difference between how you are out there in the world and what's going on inside, just bring that together so therefore you can be your one authentic amazing person and be able to shine like the lighthouse leader that you are with a lot of ease and grace and flow, and definitely fun. Definitely fun.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, Dr. John, this has been absolutely amazing. What would be, based on everything that you shared with us, what would be like the one thing that you want to be able to leave us with today? Your biggest takeaway.
It's gonna be hard to jam it into one thing, so please forgive me
Okay, I'll
if
give you
I
a
try to
couple.
squeeze in
Yes.
a couple in
Okay.
there. I think spend some time with yourself, get to know yourself, do some values work, find what's really important to you, do some time thinking about the future, looking back on your life and say, how did I do? Like, how am I gonna measure my success when I'm at the end of my life looking back? Because that informs, there's this old book, I think it's Carson is the last name. It was like, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. It's all small stuff, right? We're here for a very small piece of time. So our job is just to make the world around us just a little bit better. And then if the other people do the same thing, then that ripple effect can happen in a massive way.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love that. Oh, so good. And how can we continue this journey with you? Like, do you have something that you can be able to offer us so therefore we can get to know you more and stay
Uh,
in your world?
a couple things you can check out my YouTube channel, which is also Coach Creator, so at Coach Creator or CoachCreator.tv. And I'd love to connect for the people who are interested in talking about developing their inner coach or becoming a coach, and that is schedulewithjohn.com. Real easy, schedulewithjohn.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to put those links in the comments below. And, I want to hear also from you as well. Go ahead and put in the comments below, what is your biggest takeaway? Like, and if sharing is caring. That's what we always talk about here at Another Level Living. And if you've been inspired by this video, which I know that you have, go ahead and share it out with the rest of the world and give someone else the gift of being able to develop their inner coach too. Dr. John, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today. This has been absolutely amazing. We're so happy that you were sharing with us today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Heather. Been a pleasure.
Awesome. All right, let this message marinate into your mind, body, and soul all weekend. Take action with the amazing gifts that Dr. John has given us. And we look forward to seeing you again for another episode of Freedom Fridays. Bye, everyone.